in May of 1984, what would have things would have been like? You know, how would the wrestling industry have taken shape in the mid to late 80s? Because Jim Crockett Promotions really, really pulled ahead in front of any and all affiliates of the NWA during the late 80s. They really, truly had a stranglehold not only on the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, but the NWA itself, because of the national television deal that they had with WTBS. But this comes to another point, though. The Mid-Atlantic / Georgia regions have always had some sort of relationship with WTBS. So it wasn't like, you know, Georgia Championship Wrestling or Jim Crockett Promotions wasn't a known commodity, but World Class Championship Wrestling had the strength of the 80s, or the early 80s, which was syndication. So how would things like really turned out if David Von Erich had never left? He never had passed away. And to me, this is my take on it. I think David would have had more than a year run with the championship just because of World Class's success at the time. You know, the Freebirds probably would have never left and gone to the AWA. They probably never would have gone to a short stint with Jim Crockett Promotions. They probably would have stayed in Dallas for the majority, or at least the bulk of their careers. It's just a domino effect. You know, at the time when Kerry won the World Heavyweight Championship against Flair at that event, he lost it no less than around 18 or so days later in Japan, in an obscure area of the NWA affiliates. And the reason, of course, you know, all the Phantom title changes that took place there. This was a legit title change, and it just goes to show you the faith that they had in Kerry, or the lack thereof. And then Flair, as we all know, goes on to have this huge, darn near 2-year reign as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion before losing to Dusty Rhodes in the Great American Bash in 1986 during I believe the next to or the last stop of the tour in Baltimore. So, you know, when I think about, you know, David, I think that if he had won that title from Flair, you're talking about a guy who probably would have had the championship for a year or two, possibly losing in late 85 or early 86. And what would Jim Crockett Promotions be without Ric Flair as the World Heavyweight Champion? Because Flair's entire persona was built around being a member of the Horsemen, and 2, being the World Heavyweight Champion, or you want the 1A or 1B, whatever you want to call. That was basically his backbone. The World Heavyweight Champion, a member of the Horsemen. And remember, David would have won the title in 84. Would there have even been a Horseman? You know, 4 Horsemen. So the domino effects are amazing. Magnum TA, the guy that I compared David with in terms of the guy who they're building to be a champion because of unfortunate circumstances, that's not allowed to actually take place. So there's so many what ifs in regards to David. I think he would have had a long, successful run as the world's champion. I think the NWA territorial system may have been different, but you really can't say that for sure because of national television. But you got to say this. David, World Heavyweight Champion. Fritzy and revenue off the wazoo. Does Fritz make that very poignant decision to go national? To take his company around the entire country, because he has the resources. He has the very smart, intelligent crew with him, the production crew, who are doing all of these great things at, you know, of filming the superstars and all the very high-tech stuff that they were doing. Would they have taken their company national as David, the World Heavyweight Champion? It's something to consider. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that could have happened. World Class Championship Wrestling could have just taken off. It's a great question. But you're talking about a company that was in Dallas, Texas. They basically controlled the entire Texas market. As Gary Hart poignantly said on his guest booker show for Kayfabe Commentary before he passed away, the booking everything went through the Dallas booking office. You know, Paul Bosch and Joe Blanchard of Houston, of San Antonio, and Paul Bosch of Houston really couldn't do anything unless they went to unless they got talent from the Dallas area, because that's how they pulled their talent. and probably how they also got some of their revenue money as well, just because of the talent exchanges. So, excuse me. So, it's something to consider. Well, remember, the WWE really didn't expand frequently until the late portions of the mid to late portions of 1984. David would have became the champion before 1984. I don't think it would have had any bearings on what Vince was doing, because Vince obviously was probably planning on going nationally for years. But you know, World Class Championship Wrestling had established a way to present wrestling. It was very cutting edge. It was new. It was ECW-like in terms of its cutting edge philosophy in towards of getting the fans to tune into the shows. It wasn't as hardcore, but the unique and perspective way that they actually showed the business, showcased the business at the time is something to think about. But David Von Erich, it just showed that the passing of David Von Erich just had a huge ripple effect of that company, and it also had a real huge ripple effect on the business itself, because the business, in my opinion, would have been vastly different if David Von Erich had remained with us, had not passed away. And you know, we'll probably be talking about World Class Championship Wrestling now and WWE. I mean, you know, who knows? I mean, at the time, Hulk Hogan was their champion, but they were not. It took a while until the WWE really hit their stride, and it wasn't until they really had the build to WrestleMania where they got that. And also with David, you know, as I pause and I think and reflect, my goodness, what if he had gone to the WWE at some point? I mean, you're talking about a guy who was 6'7", 250 pounds, you know, solid as a rock in terms of the ring, knows how to work. Has flawless chemistry with guys like Harley Race and Ric Flair, can work a match in style with anybody, understands the fact that you got to be charisma, you got to be charismatic. He was basically a face version of Gino Hernandez in terms of the charisma factor, not necessarily the braggadocious mentality, but just the charismatic factor of both men. And it's sad that both guys passed away. We're so young that we really never got to enjoy them on a national level, minus the aftermath disease. So, you know, if you guys haven't seen David Von Erich wrestle, treat yourself and do so. And I'm going to get up right now and I'm going to show you a DVD cover that you really got to check out. And I'll be back in a second. Alright, I am back, and it's really the DVD that got me into World Class Championship Wrestling. It's a DVD that not only further educated me about David Von Erich, the kind of wrestler he was, the guy who was really the true next leader of the Von Erichs after Fritz left and decided to retire around 1981-82. And it's Heroes of World Class Championship Wrestling, directed by Brian Anderson, who I think did a fantastic job in terms of giving the fans a true historical perspective of a fan's view of World Class Championship Wrestling, while interviewing all the great legends of World Class Championship Wrestling, such as Chris Adams, Gentleman Chris Adams, Playboy Gary Hart. The list goes on and on and on about the legends that were actually interviewed for this. And it's something that you really got to see. And if you want to get a true understanding of the importance of David Von Erich, the best thing to do is actually to pick this DVD up. It's located on Amazon, located on highspots.com. The list is endless on where you can actually find this DVD. But this is the original copy of the DVD. But I think it's something that every wrestling fan needs to look at to actually truly understand not only the history of Von Erichs, but understand the history of David Von Erich and what he brought to World Class Championship Wrestling, and the fact of his passing in the early 80s, close to the mid 80s, and all of the other unfortunate circumstances surrounding the company, and how, you know, it basically describes their downfall. And their uprising and their downfall and their importance, their vast importance to this business. So, you know, pick this up. It's Heroes of World Class Championship Wrestling. The story of the Von Erichs of World Class Championship Wrestling. You got to go get this. It's very, very important to get it. If you're a wrestling fan, I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. It's the best documentary I've ever seen in pro wrestling. And honestly, that's saying something because I have seen some really good ones, minus shooter interviews. This one is very, very top notch. You get educated on it. It will really teach you a whole lot about the business. And the late great Skandor Akbar, leader of Devastation Incorporated, is on there too. But more than anything, it just tells you the importance of David Von Erich in World Class Championship Wrestling. And the fact that they lost him could have been up to here, but it just dropped all the way down. So definitely look at this. It's a story that had to be told, and a story that you should all actually listen and look at. It's very, very important. But just to close up things, I didn't really want to make this a very, very long edition of the Paradigm. Yeah, but I just wanted to, just re-educate some people and just have David Von Erich's name in your mind when you're thinking about all of the greats of the business and some of the guys who really never truly got their opportunity to be at the top of this business and seeing how they could take it out, take off. Today, you have so many young guys in the business who really never earned their stripes. They don't go around the world to learn their craft because they don't have to. If you're in the WWE, or if the WWE likes you, or if TNA has a liking to you, you don't have to go through those learning curves. You don't have to experience failures. And if they really like you, if they want to push you up to the top, you don't have to experience those failures before you can actually be at the top and succeed. For so long, many people, in my opinion, probably thought that David Von Erich and the rest of the Von Erichs were only in this business and got as far as this business because they were Fritz Von Erich's sons. Well, that is total BS. David Von Erich, Kerry Von Erich, Kevin Von Erich specifically, those three guys were phenomenal. They were great in the ring. They had great personalities. And David Von Erich in particular could have made it no matter who kid he was, as Gary Hart states in this DVD. He was just that good and that talented. So, if you're coming across WCCW, if you're listening to a lot of wrestling internet shows that are depicting a lot of old school wrestling, make sure you do yourself a favor and go check out David Von Erich's matches. It's easily accessible. You can go